Welcome home, Raiders! This week, patch 5.4.7 dropped and broke everything. It just might be $60 for a 90, and Proving Grounds get mandatory for Warlords and so much more. This is Convert to Raid number 132.
You're listening to Convert to Raid, the podcast for Raiders in the World of Warcraft.
To Raid Command Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Today is February 23rd, 2014, and it is now 11:10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you so much for joining us from all around World of Warcraft land. And hello, my name is Pat Crane, your host of the show. I'm also called Zug around Airy Peak, US, and I'm still raiding. Of course, I'm still raiding. And so are the players. So let's bring them in here. First up, from now back in serene Seattle after his trip to Portland. Don't tell everybody else in Seattle that you went there, though, because there's a big rivalry. It's Darius!
Yeah, don't tell people about my timber scarf that I bought in visiting Providence Park. They
tell no
just
one.
Don't do it. Yeah, just, guys, like, keep this a secret. Don't tell anybody.
How you doing, buddy?
I trust you guys. I'm good. A bit tired. Long night driving back from Portland. That is a long, boring drive in the middle of the night, but pretty good.
Well, welcome back to Seattle, I guess. I didn't even know that you were gone.
Nobody noticed.
Well, let's go to La La Land, to Hollyweird, to our Funky Monk. I was going to say Rage and Mage, but it's Funky Monk. It's Coltrane.
Fortune cookie say.
Oh, boy.
A rogue's favorite drink is subtle tea? Eh?
I'm gonna just
subtle tea.
I'm gonna try to be a little subtle, and just try to move past that.
It's subtle tea.
Yeah.
Come on. That was sent in by an unknown person. I can't find it. I remember it. I can't find who sent it in. So I will remedy this next week. But whoever you are, thank you very much, sir. That is a 10 out of 10 bongos. Oh, boy. Well, I don't know. I'm getting some crickets. What?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy is right.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of sighs.
What?
Yeah.
That's classic.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. No soup for you. What?
No.
Oh, you got a no soup for you.
Oh.
What's that about?
Subtlety. Come on. It's brilliant.
God.
We got another one in on the
crowd.
We got
Tough
another
crowd.
one in on the Convert to Raid Twitter just now, and it says Fortune Cookie say CTR listener who can't watch live has eyes that are torn up.
Yeah.
What?
It's from Justin. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah.
And thank you, unknown person, for participating as always. But we need to move on from that. Really.
Come on, it's good.
So let's talk about
before that.
Right. Let's talk about WoW a little bit.
Let's do it, baby.
Colt, what have you been up to this week?
Holy cow. Had a heck of a week. Once again, raiding in that wonderful raid team that I love, known as Rectified. Yeah! Rectified. Wow, even at low volume.
Yeah, well, it was a little low at the beginning. I apologize
it up,
for that.
Crane.
I apologize
Pick it
for that.
up.
You want to do that again? No, let's not do that.
No, I don't. But we did kill one of my favorite bosses, known as Fang.
Uh-oh. You threw me off. You're throwing me off. You're just.
I'm trying to keep you on your toes, Crane.
All right.
So it was great raiding this week. I always say waiting. We cleared all the way up to Garrosh in 2.5 hours.
Wow.
We had a wipe on Garrosh. We had too many ads, going or whatever. But we got the whole thing done in under 3 hours. So that was awesome.
That
we're
is
definitely gearing up for heroics for next week. Kleptic, our elemental shaman, did a little swing healing, a little resto, and he did a great job. And it was just a lot of fun, man. Got more gear and getting ready for heroics next week. So
Cool.
that's going to be a lot of fun, kind of dipping into that.
That's awesome.
I'm trying something now. I don't want to reveal it now because I don't want to give out wrong information.
Okay.
That's not what we try to do here.
No.
But I'm trying something completely different on the monk. Like completely different. Like a whole different way of gemming, of reforging, like the rotation, everything. And it's insane. It's insane, but it could change everything.
All right, so now are we talking about stats here? You're going to a different different secondary stat thing?
Yes, I'm talking about, and I won't get into the details here, but finding a way to roll Tiger Eye Brew at 10 stacks, you get that 60% damage increase, and have it just chain it, just roll it pretty much constantly. So you got a 60% damage increase with an uptime of about 90%. That's the goal.
Wow.
And I've been testing it around, and so far the results have been great, but I'm still testing. So I don't want to get into it just yet, but holy cow.
All right.
This could change everything.
Could change everything.
That's right. So it's really cool stuff.
My word. All right, Darius, you're up. What have you been up to other than the Portland thing? Let's talk WoW now. What have you been doing?
Let's see. Been playing my Paladin. Been going through the LFRs on my Paladin. Trying to just get some gear drops there. And I do think, Sunday night we went through, cleared up to heroic jugs with the Asparagus Initiative.
Right.
Yeah, didn't we do that? We got some attempts on that.
Yep.
That was good. Just working on the VP cap right now so I can get the 3 weeks, the 3K Valor on my Paladin for that legendary.
How is heroic jugs? What's different about heroic jugs and normal jugs?
There's a lot more garbage.
Everything hits harder. Yeah, there's more stuff to stand in, but...
Yeah, and there's also, like, during his turret phase, there's a lot of stuff on the ground. Like, a lot. So there's actually... there are different strats out there for it, but our strat is to stay away.
Oh, right. Just avoid the fight entirely.
Yeah, we just don't pull.
Right.
And we figure that's the best way to win.
Right.
I dig it.
We just try to stay away from the boss entirely to try to survive that whole thing. So
that's wonderful.
You get blown all the way. You get blown back all the way to that back fence area, and you just hang out there.
I dig it.
I don't know if it'll work. We haven't cleared it yet, so I don't know.
Not a lot of DPS.
No.
His health
we lose
really
a little bit of
dropping.
DPS on that strat. That's for sure.
Yeah, I gotta tell you. So
the guys are not happy with
too.
The guys are not happy about their numbers.
We're pretty mad, but if we just stay away from him, he'll cool down.
Right,
be all right. He'll just give us loot. But.
Right.
So doing that Thursday night, I ran through the first 3 flexes on my Paladin with a big group from CTR. Shout out to those guys. I don't have everybody's name, but everyone that went with me, thanks for coming. I think Mr. Train was there. I couldn't tell. His new experiment, he was being out DPS'd by healers, so...
That's not true.
What?
Darius, now be honest. This was my first little experiment with you guys, and how was I doing?
You were doing all right. You were doing all right, yeah.
I was at the top! Why can't you just say it, Darius?
If you look at buff uptime, Colt was at the top.
Buff uptime, yes. Yes.
You just can't do it. You can't ever be like, you know what, Colt, good job. You can't ever do that.
That's
on trash, he was number one.
Oh my God. Unbelievable.
Oh man.
I'm telling you, man, this experiment is going to change everything. It's a focus on mastery. What? Mastery? Oh, it's insane. It's insane.
It's out of the bag now.
Right.
The flex was good. The group was good. We rolled right through. I think we only wiped once or twice. Thok, we hit a little bit of a stumbling block, but that was mostly people were tired. People were coming and going. The comp was a little weird. But it was good. All on my Paladin to try to get gear. The 2 pieces of gear I got were flex versions of normal versions I already had.
Which is always awesome.
And they were both on coins as well.
Nice.
So I hate WoW at this point.
Right. Well, I know that for me, it was kind of a light week this week. there's a lot of action going on in real life for me right now. So it's we're trying to like move and stuff. We want to. So I'm looking forward to moving all of the command center, all of the pieces and parts of the command center. Oh, it's going to be a couple months yet, but that has eaten into my game time quite a bit. So as we try to prep for that stuff. So
I thought I saw you on an episode of Hoarders.
Yes.
So you might be in trouble. You got a lot of work to do, buddy.
That is correct. We had to buy lots of boxes this week and like get the plastic bins and everything. And
you should have told me
horrible.
About a month ago. I could have mailed you lots of boxes.
I didn't know a month ago that we were going to try to do this thing. So it's like we decided, I think maybe it was like 3 weeks ago. We were like, you know what, screw it. And I think what it was is that it's been snowing so much around here and my snowblower broke. And I have this really long driveway and I'm shoveling the thing and I'm like, honey, we got to get the F out of here. We got to just get out now. So yeah, I was not happy.
You freaked out. You really did.
I did. I really did.
You actually peed yourself. It was crazy.
Slightly.
So upset.
It was slight, but yes, that is totally true. Speaking of freaking out, a lot of people freaked out this week with a lot of news. There was a lot of news this week. There was no
news.
There was news?
There was no news whatsoever.
What?
Yeah, there was some news. And let's get to the news before the raid news, because there's a bunch of stuff here. First of all, we have this to talk about, which is the orc female model came out. The character update is out. So, fellas, what do you think about the orc female remodel here?
Inappropriate.
Did you get in trouble with HR again?
Well, so last time I did. I had like the undead females and they're in their bikinis and I'm at work.
Right.
And all the coworkers are walking by and I mean, you should have seen the looks. They're like, what the hell are you looking at? I'm like, no, it's
right.
It's not. It's like for a game. It's like updated. Why are you looking at like a game of girls in bikinis? No. It's like in their underwear. And that didn't help. That made it even worse.
Right. Yeah.
So now, but the orc stuff. So I'm at home right now. When I saw this, I was at home.
Oh, yeah?
So the only look I got was from the lady train.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
She gave you the stink eye or what?
She gave me a look that I haven't seen. So I'm in bed, and I got the iPad, and I'm looking, I'm like, oh. So she hears, oh. So she looks over because it's a new character model. So she just, she goes, honey. I'm like, no. It's not, what you think.
Right.
So I don't know what's worse.
Getting in trouble with HR, getting in trouble with the wife?
That's right. That's right. So can you please just put some clothes on them? Like, please.
That'd be great. That would be great.
What are they doing?
Darius, what do you think about the orc remodel here?
I think they look good. I think all of them look good. I think they're doing a really good job. I saw in one of the beta, so we'll get to some of this info later, but I saw a screenshot of the options menu in the beta where there was an option to turn on and off the new models. Like if you like the old ones.
Oh, really?
Wow. A lot more. You could use those, which I thought was kind of interesting.
That is interesting. That's really
I'm not sure if anyone that likes the old ones, but I mean, maybe for transmog or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I like them. I think they look good. I think, upgraded models are a good thing.
Yeah, they look great, especially the orcs. I think the orc males look the best. They just look amazing.
Yeah, they look really cool. And, I know that everybody's going to have their opinion, especially on the orc female, because they changed some of they tried to make her more muscular and more of like a brute. And you can actually see that she looks a little bit more savage, right? So I kind of like it. I dig it. The other thing that came out was the female dwarf on the 3D modeler. And I'm going to flip it up for the vidya.
What?
And I don't know about this, guys.
Speaking about being in your underwear.
So we're looking at the model in her underwear on the screen, and I don't know. I just don't know about this model. I'm not a fan. I am not a fan of the female dwarf. I'm sorry. Maybe it's just the face that they show here, but it's not.
But it's the dwarf female. No one, I mean, that's been one of the least played races, I think, in the entire game.
I think you're right.
No one's been like, oh, dwarf female. Now that is a hot piece of pixel right there.
Yeah.
Now that is a challenge to play in game.
Yeah.
If you really want a challenge, do that challenge.
No, it's crazy. But no, I mean, the model, I don't know. I just, give me some clothes. Let's,
Again, it's just about the clothing. That's all it's about.
Just saying. They're not considering people on the outside looking in while you're looking at this with a smile on your face.
Right.
It's not good.
So, Darius, on this one, is it ooh or is it ew?
No, it's dwarf female. I mean, man.
It's
I'm
tough.
Sorry.
It's tough. It's a tough model to love. It always has been.
That's right. Tough love. Some hot pixel action right there.
That's right. That's right. And I don't know if you guys heard about this in other news before the Raiden news. There's been a lot of Twitch plays, blah blah blah, whatever it is. A lot of Twitch playing things where people can jump into the chat room and say up or down and move the character around and hit A or B and stuff like that, and they have a program that'll read it all, and you can move, and it's been kind of all over the place. And Mione, who is the DK that has like soloed a bunch of content in the past, came up with Twitch Plays WoW, and went around to various raids and let the chat room play. And I think, and it was weird. I was there. It was so funny because when it broke, like Celestalon tweeted it, and everybody was there.
Right.
And it was just like it was me. It was Olivia Grace was hanging out there. I think Lore was there and Bashiok, and I mean, I saw it was like the who's who of WoW was all right there, right at the beginning, and went into Molten Core and basically sat in lava for 20 minutes.
Yep.
Oh my god!
Just spamming everything.
It was not great. And then I think Mione actually helped out a little bit, and they got Illidan down.
What?
Somehow they got Illidan down. I have no idea. I checked it out. I checked it out like a bunch of hours later, and they got Illidan down. It was weird.
That's insane. So the chat room can enter in commands. The chat room can enter in commands like move forward or use Death Strike, and then the character will do it in the game. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
He's got his like big abilities mapped to A button, B button, C button, things like that. And so the chat room types A, and then when it gets to that, it hits A or B or up, down, jump, things like that. So he's just constantly moving around. And attacking the wall or something like that.
That's what I mean. It was either when I was there for Molten Core, it was either the guy was in the lava or up against a wall, like face to it. Yeah, it's like, okay, this is great, guys. Really enjoying this content. At one point, it was he set up outside of the portal, and the chat room was able to get inside the portal and then turn around and go back outside the portal, and it took 25 minutes.
Wow. Riveting.
Yeah, I know. It was really bad. It was really bad, but it's weird. It's one of those weird things, but it did happen.
Future of gaming right there.
Yeah.
Community gaming. Not
gaming. Not the best way to play.
It's not a gaming community, it's community gaming. It's the other way around. All right, let's get into the Raiden news.
Calling all raiders from around World of Warcraft land. This is Raiding News.
All right, it's time to check out what's been happening in Raiden news around World of Warcraft. And first up, patch 5.4.7 dropped this week, and everybody freaked out. It's true. Now, this patch landed and basically broke the world. Is that right, Darius? Do you know what was going on with this?
Yeah, I heard this went really smoothly and there were no problems.
No problems whatsoever.
So a bunch of add-ons got broken. So pets and mounts got removed from the game. And then we had an extended maintenance on Thursday.
Yeah.
Which is a little weird. And OQ broke.
Yeah, so what was going on? Why did OQ break?
So what they did in the latest patch was they changed the way that add-ons interact with Battle.net. Specifically, they changed how add-ons work to send out notices. So everybody's probably seen this in the past where you log in, you've got a friend request in Battle.net, and it's from a bot, a gold farmer, and it's some random name, and then the message, the accept me message is their advertisement for their website or whatever. And you click remove. Well, they removed the ability for add-ons to do that to try to prevent spam bots. But that's how OQ works. That's how it sends out its friends request and knows that it's OQ, is it uses that accept me message part. And they took that out. So OQ was down and you weren't allowed to group with random people or accept them via Battle.net and whatnot. So they took that out, and then on Thursday they worked with OQ to add similar functionality back in, but not to the point where you should be seeing gold farmers anymore. So that's what happened there with OQ. Some of the other add-ons, it was just API calls being depreciated or changed or things like that. And as far as pets and mounts, I have no idea what they did there.
Colt, did you see what was going on with this whole thing? Were you able to kind of check it out for yourself?
Pets disappeared and everyone freaked out. That pretty much there was several threads of like, how could you do this, Blizz? Why are you removing my pets? And my mounts. How dare you? I want a refund. And I'm quitting WoW because my Sparkle Pony is gone. And some people were like saying that they were gonna sue Blizzard because they paid money for the Sparkle Pony and now they're holding the mounts, so the money they paid for, they're now going to sue. It was insane. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I've never heard the internet overreact to anything.
And WoW players have never, ever said, like unsub threats or anything like that. That's never been a thing.
Yeah, it was really entertaining to read these threads. I could not believe what I was reading, that Blizzard would intentionally do this, and how dare they, and all this crazy stuff. So as people noticed when you logged back in, you now have an inbox full of mounts that you already have.
That you already have because they fixed the problem. And then that's what happened to me. I logged into one of my characters and all the mounts were in there.
I got some new mounts or something, and then I click them and I was like, I own all of these. My addiction to owning mounts has come back to haunt me.
And I got one from May Francis. Like, who's May Francis?
Oh, that's one of the NPCs. That's one of the NPCs in game. Which mount was that for? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know.
It's like Tyrael's Charger or something like that.
Yeah, probably.
He sent me one or two. Good old May Francis. Have you met May Francis? Heck of a guy.
Right.
I mean, really one heck of a guy.
Right.
But,
just handing out mounts.
So everybody logged in. They got all their mounts back. They're hopefully the lawsuit has been dropped from Blizzard, so that's good. Hopefully. Yeah. And we're back in business.
We're back. That's the important thing. That's the important thing, right? So there was that, and then also along with 5.4.7 breaking everything, there was something else that was probably a little bit bigger, and another reason why people were threatening to unsub.
Yeah, wallets got broken.
Wallets were being put away left and right. I think was that there was something happened when they first came on with the next patch, and it was in the store. The price tag for the level 90 boost, the pay for a level 90 boost, was revealed, or it was just in there, or whatever it was. There was a price tag attached with that.
Well, and that's good. So Zug, was it like what, like 20? 20 bucks?
No, it was a little bit higher.
Oh, a little higher.
We were thinking like 35, I think.
30?
Yeah, that's what we were kind of thinking here, but it was a little bit higher than that.
Oh, what, 30, 35?
No.
40. It can't go any higher than 40. So $40.
No.
Right, it can't go any higher.
40 is the price of buying the game, everything, and refer a friend and all that.
So it can't be higher than 40.
Okay, well then, let's get crazy. Let's go with 50. 50.
No, it was,
and that's it. Final offer.
It was $60.
What?
$60.
What? What?
I know.
Outrageous.
I
Oh
know.
my God.
$60 for this boost to 90.
God. Oh.
And then everything went down. World of Warcraft went down again, and it popped back in, and the price tag was gone. But people were able to take screenshots of this thing at $60 for level 90. So so Colt, do I need to ask you what you think of this?
Well, I mean, okay, so here's what happens, and this is, I think, how the internet works, right?
Right.
You first see something, and you freak out, and I mean, you freak out, right? Like the pets and mounts are gonna sue Blizzard, and that's what I did. I saw $60, like $60, right?
Yeah.
But then time passes, and now I'm like, well, it's $60. Like, I don't know. It's like, it doesn't bother me as much now as it did initially, but I mean, I don't know. Personally, $60. I mean, that's a little high. That's got some hair on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's got some hair on it. But then again, I thought, well, okay, let's look at both sides, right? You look at both sides of an argument. It is a level 90. You get a profession up to max. You don't have to grind that stuff out. You are missing the entire game, essentially. You're bypassing the entire game of World of Warcraft. Now, here's an interesting thing. Remember that when we buy this new expansion, we get a free 90 that comes with it.
Yep.
So this 60, like, I have a cousin of mine, Eric. I saw him this weekend, and he was saying how he's wanted to get back into WoW, and he did. And he bought Mists of Pandaria, but the problem was that all his buddies were max level, and he was starting out at level 1. He was like, that's no fun, you know, they're way up there. I can't game with them. I can't do anything. So I said, well, you just got to buy one more expansion and you'll be fine. So, but I think that's also what it's for, is like he can buy Warlords, get boosted to 90, play with his buddies. Everything's great. So maybe this 90 could be for your friends. So maybe this 60 is just extra, right?
Right.
So what is a 90 worth to you? Is it worth $60? Is it not? And that's where the big, like, hubbub and everyone's going crazy. Everyone's got a different opinion.
Right. Yeah. And
So-
go ahead, Darius.
What happens to this price though? Because when Warlords comes out, it's going to be probably $60 for the expansion, maybe $50, and you get a free 90 when you buy Warlords. You know, 6 months after Warlords comes out, it starts going on sale, and eventually it drops down to what MOP is now, $20-$30. You know, is a level 90, if it stays at 60, still going to be $60 when I can go to Best Buy or, you know, Amazon and buy Warlords for $30 that comes with a free level 90?
Right.
And there's no cost in having a second account. You know, if you bought it like that, you've got 30 days of game time that come with the game. You spend the $10 or whatever it is to transfer it over to your main account. I mean, $60 is a lot.
Yeah.
For a level 90 when you're paying $60 for a 90 and a new expansion when WoD comes out.
Right. Well, and I know that we talked about this at length on Legendary this week, and one of the things that came up was, do you think that Blizzard actually did this on purpose, that they left this price up there on purpose so that they could get it out there and see how the community responds to it?
Cool.
And so, I mean, we're going a little, you know,
It's a little grassy knoll action right there.
Yeah.
a little bit. But I mean, do you think that that's a possibility, or do you really think that this was just kind of like a mistake on Blizzard's part? How about Darius? Why don't you start off?
I don't think so. Blizzard's got better ways of gauging that information, of asking people. They're not, you know, that's kind of a underhanded thing to do. And you're not going to get the reaction you want no matter what you do,
right,
if you announce it like that. So I don't think they would.
And then what my thing was okay. Let's say that they did this. Let's say that they leaked this out so that they could gauge kind of the player response, and then they highballed it so that they could come down a little bit and look like the good guy. So they could come down like, you know, okay, well, you didn't like 60, but let's try 50. And then that way we look good.
Like, what do they have to recover from? I mean, usually you do that when you've done something, you know, some huge blunder that you want to make up for. You're charging too much for something, and you want to hide that. I mean, they don't have anything like that right now.
Right.
I think you're crazy. I don't think that this
Probably
was some like conspiracy. I mean, you never know, but I
Let me
personally
find my tinfoil hat. Hold on.
no, I don't think this was like, all right, let's see what happened. I don't think that Blizzard did it. I think it's a new patch. They forgot to click a button or, turn something off and whoops. You know what I mean? That's what I think happened. And I mean, the $60 thing, everyone's all up in arms. It is optional. It is optional. You don't have to do it.
Right.
However, I do know a lot of people that were really looking forward to doing it. You know what I mean? And one person made the point. They said, look, if it was $30, I would have done it twice. Or 3 times. You know what I mean? It's like you're in Vegas, right? And you got the blackjack tables, right? And you got 3 of them. And there's 2 on the left and 1 on the right. 2 on the left, $5 minimums. Boom, those things are packed.
Right.
And the one on the right is a $25 minimum. It's completely empty.
Right.
Those $5 tables, man, people are dropping hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and they're spending all this money. But the 25 isn't. So maybe if it was lower, a kind of nice little intro for people, and maybe they would have spent more money doing it. But it is optional. It is optional. And the only thing that makes me think is because you are literally bypassing the entire game. You know what I mean? It's 1 to 90 plus a profession. That's all the quests, all the content, everything is all thrown in there for $60. When I hear that, to me, a little bit, it's got some okay. But I do think that 60 is a little high.
Yeah, and I think that there's another magic number out there, and that's probably about $100. Like, people are willing to maybe spend $100 if it's the right price for multiple alts. If they have multiple alts, I think that if you're gonna spend money, you're probably gonna try to see how much fits into $100. And for $60, you only get one, so maybe you do it once, but maybe you look at it and you go, you know what? That's just too damn high. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of how my mind works. With that, I was, if it would have been like 30 to 45, I probably would have done it a couple of times.
Absolutely. Or
maybe if it was 30, maybe like 3 times, because it falls underneath that $100 mark, which is kind of where I kind of put things. I guess.
I think a lot of people do like $100 is a good break point for a lot of people just mentally. So
yeah.
If you price this at $60, you click it once and that's it. You click it again, you're going to go over that $100 mark, and then you're mentally you've got that block. But again, if it's $30, you're going to click it 3 times, giving them $90 instead of $60.
Right. Right.
So
they're cutting themselves out of $40 per person.
Also, remember too, like with our guild, also server transfers, race changes. That's like 50. What?
55. 55.
It's 62 with states that have like a good amount of tax, which is more than it costs for the free level 90 at that point.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's high. I do. I think it's high. At first I freaked out. Now I've kind of calmed down.
Right.
But, at first I was like, whoa, 60. Oh, come on, man. Whoa.
So
that's a little high.
I guess now we should get personal here a little bit. So at $60, are you guys in or out on doing this at all? If you were thinking about it. If you were thinking about it, go ahead.
My problem was with the in-game store. If I buy something on the in-game store, it puts little blue or green check marks next to it saying, "Yeah, you bought this. You don't have to buy another one."
Right.
With this one, it doesn't do that. So,
so you're just gonna keep on clicking that button.
Yeah. I feel like, well, I don't own this now. Something's wrong. I got to keep clicking it. I'm like, now I've got 37 90s.
Right. You have a problem. You have a problem. You have a problem.
Colt, you're not helping me here.
Colt, how about you, man?
It's a weird thing for me. Before they announced the price, I was 100% definite. I was like, oh, man, I'm going to boost this guy. I'm going to boost this. I'm going to boost that. It's going to be great. I'm going to have the professions here. I'll do blacksmithing for this, and I'll do engineering over here. And, it's going to be great. Alchemy here. But then when I saw it, man, I'm like, oh, boy. I don't know. It's just a little... I mean, who knows, man, because you are getting a free one with Warlords, so I can use that boost to boost one of my other characters that I wanted. And I don't know, man, like a lot of people are like, I know now people are like back to leveling. You know what I mean? They're leveling up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And, I mean, it is kind of one of those things. I think that they probably priced me out of the market because of that, because I have that $100 line and, $60 seems like a lot. So I think they probably priced me out of it. But at the same time, if your raid team really needs like a warlock or something like that, I'll be like, I don't have a warlock, but I'll play one. Okay, fine, I'll do it. Because that's going to be the speedy way to do it.
Well, and also there are people that work a ton and have a lot of disposable income. So for them, this is perfect.
Sure.
You know what I mean? They can just focus and get to max level. They can work, like you said, if they can help out their buddies, they can do max level stuff. And that's perfect for them. Just for the rest of us, maybe not so much. A little high.
So what happens here? So right now, level 90 is the cap. You pay $60 if that's what it is, and you get level 90 as your cap. What happens when Warlords hits and you get a level 90 for $60 and you're still looking at 20 plus hours of leveling to 100? Yep. Is $60 still worth it then?
It only gets you up to current content, right? So the current cap is 90. As soon as Warlords hits, it's just going to get you so you can start the game.
So it's not even it's not $60 to, get a tune to start raiding once you get a little bit of gear. It's $60 to then, spend 20 hours leveling.
Right.
So
well, that's true. That's a very good point.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's $60 now for a level 90, and then Warlords comes out and it's $30 for a 90 because you're not level cap anymore.
Oh, I don't think they're going to change the price. I don't think they're going to do that.
Not for a long time anyway. Not until maybe.
Besides, that's bypassing 90 levels. You now only have to level 10.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 20 hours is better than 20 months. Well, not that long.
Well, you can kind of understand why it's so expensive on a certain level, because you say, okay, well, what is my time worth to do those 90 levels?
That's right.
And if you look at it from a price per level, it's well under $1 per level. It's what. Yeah. I don't know what the number actually is, but it's.
But are those first 15 levels really worth 75 cents? I mean, you log in, you're already level 9.
Well, I don't know. People, you need a level 15 requirement to join our guild CTR. People don't seem to be happy about that.
Right. That takes too long. It takes an hour or two.
True.
Or something. So
just do the starting zone. You'll be 15.
Oh man! But
so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I don't know. The professions thing is good. That's a nice incentive. That's a nice benefit.
Yeah.
Maybe they throw a legendary cloak on there, and then maybe we're talking. Maybe I don't know.
What are they, like used car dealers? What's going on? If you throw in a little legendary, they don't do it. All right.
Let's negotiate on this one.
Little cherry on top. Oh, boy.
Legendary and floor mats, and I'm in. Right. Let's do this.
Right. And if that wasn't enough freak out for this week, we've got some more for you. Woo! Because Blizzard devs held a press event and everybody freaked out. 3 devs, anyway, took to the air to hold press events in Korea, Paris, and San Francisco, including interviews and extended gameplay. And there were some interesting things said. We'll just put it that way, and then we'll get to the freak out part. From Korea, Brian Halinka was over there, and he said a couple Halinka! And he said a couple of things. He said that Blizzard is not ready to talk yet about timelines for the Warlords beta or the release or anything like that, which is, that's cool. That's cool. And next, he said that there's going to be a tutorial zone, kind of a starter experience for all players going into Warlords of Draenor.
What?
Right. And it'll be a tutorial.
What?
So I don't know. I think they said that they discussed this at BlizzCon, but I didn't hear this at BlizzCon. Did you guys hear this at BlizzCon? I
didn't. No.
Right. So Halinka, you're on crack or something. I don't know what's going on with you.
Jeez.
But we never heard that. I don't know.
Talks about it to himself in the mirror.
So there was that, and then the forums blew up because people were translating the French articles and the articles coming from Korea, and Google Translate doesn't do a really great job at it. So Ian Hazakostas, he actually posted up a bunch of other stuff.
Wait. I think they did mention it at BlizzCon.
Oh?
But here's how it was worded. They talked about, it was Greg Street, and he said that they were going to have something like because the people were talking about level 90. When you hit 90, you're going to have a spell book full of abilities, and you're not going to know what half of them do. So Greg Street mentioned that it would be similar to the DK starting area where you complete a quest and then you get a new ability. And then you complete another quest.
That does sound familiar now.
And then you get another new ability. So I think that's what that was.
All right. I just, things kind of slipped through, I guess, for me.
Right. So imagine this. If it's a tutorial thing, maybe it's a quest that, let's say you're a monk. You're a Windwalker monk. And it's like, all right, you're going to learn Tiger Palm. You will apply that to a mob to get to the, and that's the quest. And then you use it. And then you get the ability. You know what I mean? Then you go to the next ability.
As long as it's not like the starter zones, like for the hunter thing where you get steady shot or whatever the hell it is, I can't remember. And it's like, okay, do this and hit 3 training dummies and you're done with a quest. As long as it's not like that, then we're good. I hope that it's more than that.
I think it will be like that, actually. I think that's how most of them have been.
Damn it, I don't like that then.
So I think that's what maybe they're referring to.
Oh,
I had blocked out everything that Trader had said, so...
Oh, the traitor. Ghost crawler. Oh, boy.
Oh, don't call him that.
He's not a traitor. He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
Come on.
I mean, they're going to need that. With all these people getting free 90s, you need something to learn how to play the class.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's more, actually, because as I was talking about, Ian Hazzikostas, he actually posted up a bunch of stuff on the forums because it was kind of blown up over all the translations and all the articles that were out there. And he said, okay, here's an overview of our current thinking. We will have normal and heroic versions of our max level dungeons. And, that was well known. There will be no special requirement other than basic eye level requirements on queuing for normal dungeons or LFR. Level up quest gear will get you into the normal dungeons and scenarios, and normal dungeon and scenario gear will get you into LFR.
What?
So normal dungeons will be able to get you into the LFR scene. Okay,
that's normal dungeons, not heroic.
That's normal dungeons. Yeah, that's normal
Normals.
Dungeons. Heroic dungeons will be more challenging than the normal version. Not brutally difficult. He went on to say not brutally difficult, but just more demanding. So then the next point is...
This is my favorite part.
You will need a silver Proving Grounds medal in a given role in order to queue for random matchmaking for a heroic Warlords dungeon. I'm going to repeat that because this is kind of big news. You need to have silver Proving Grounds medal in the spec that you are choosing, in the role that you are choosing, in order to queue for random matchmaking for heroic Warlords dungeons.
What?
I know.
Yes.
So, and then the world blew up. I mean, this is it's craziness right now.
Unless they change the difficulty on silver, all that really means is you are not AFK. Silver is pretty easy to get.
Oh, come on. It's got a little bit more jazz to it. Come on. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
it's pretty easy to get. On my priest, got silver as shadow in the healing one. So,
but it's got some stuff. It's got some stuff to do to it. It's got things. You can't just AFK.
That's what I said. No, I said it proves that you are not AFK.
Oh, jeez.
You can't just stand there. But this is good. I mean, at least you know where your taunt button is as a tank,
right.
Or you know where your heal button is as a healer, and
right.
This just proves it. So,
and he did go on to say that yes, we realize that by formally using Proving Grounds as a qualification, it'll need to be refined and balanced, and the mechanics will all have to be changed and updated for this whole thing because they really want to make it work. So
right.
they're redoing the way that Proving Grounds will work for Warlords in order to make sure that that you do the right things or the things that they want you to do, I guess, for the different challenges.
They talked about that Proving Grounds. They want it to be more of a teaching tool versus than how it is now.
Right.
Yeah. Now it's just kind of endless waves and don't stand in the poo and all that, but they want to change it and revitalize, make it more of a teaching tool in Warlords. So I got to ask, I mean, okay, there's a couple of big things. So let's focus on this silver Proving Grounds thing. And then I want to get back into the normal mode for LFR because that's crazy.
Okay.
Silver Proving Grounds, I think I think it's great. Now, I know that's going to cause some controversy, but I think that that's a really good thing because we've been in those heroic fight. Now, by the way, this is an important side note. This is only if you're queuing for the random heroic dungeon.
Right.
If you do a pre-made group with your buddies, you do not need the silver in Proving Grounds.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you're with your buddies, you can just go in there and do heroics all day long. No big deal. Nobody has to do any Proving Grounds. But one thing I do like about this is I'm a guy that does a lot of heroic random dungeons. And you do see individuals, and like myself as well, and I'm cool with this, but not really. But like they've never tanked before. This is the first time they've ever done it. They've never healed before. They've never done DPS before, and all that kind of stuff. And when you're with a group of anonymous people, I like this idea that I know they at least know the basics of their role. They at least have some knowledge of what they're doing when we go into heroic 5-man. What this also does is this allows heroic 5-mans to be more difficult. And this is something that players have wanted in Mists of Pandaria. They're saying the dungeons have been too easy. They want more difficulty. And the problem is when you queue with random people and they're super hard, if you guys remember the Cataclysm 5-mans at the beginning, those were 2-3 hour wipe fests. You know what I mean? Back in the day. But at least with the silver, you know what I mean? You know that there's a chance it's going to go a little bit smoother and they can add that difficulty that so many people have wanted for so long.
I think this is good too, because you've gotten to the point now where people are queuing for everything, you know, regardless of whether or not they've done it, LFR, heroics, things like that. And it's not the person that's queuing that has the bad time. It's the 4 other people or the 24 other people that are stuck with that. With adding the Proving Grounds, and if they make it more of a teaching tool than just, you know, a way to compare your stats, then that's going to mean that person has at least had experience with, like you said, and it adds accountability. You know, that person now has at least gone through a tutorial that shows them what they should be doing. Whether or not they then do that is on them, right? When they queue, but you know, hopefully it gets over that whole I have no idea what I'm doing, I've never done this before thing. Right. Where you're now using a heroic or an LFR or something like that to practice something you've never done before.
Right. And one of the other things to note here is that I know that when I took a look at what the forums were doing, they were, you know, blowing up as they usually do with news like this. I mean, this is kind of a little jaw-dropping when you kind of first see it, you know, just a little bit. And people react to it by saying things like, oh, now you're forcing us behind another gate, essentially, to get at content that we want to do. But the good news is, and we've said it before, in order to, if you are a casual player, go about your business, go about your day, do what you want to do, because you will not be hindered as far as getting into LFR and going and playing that content. You are not going to be affected at all.
And normals, you could do these on normal too.
Yeah, right, no problem. So you'll be able to do normals, and that will gear you up into normal LFR. Dungeons. Yeah, normal dungeons, and that will gear you up into LFR. And it was also reiterated by Bashiak this week, because he tweeted that he says, I don't believe the intent is for heroic dungeons to be required gear path for LFR folk.
It looks like, from what they're saying, LFR will come before heroic dungeons in terms of eye level requirements.
Yeah.
Which is,
you'll see normals, LFR, then heroic dungeons.
How crazy is that?
Which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Whoa!
And I don't know how folks are necessarily going to respond to that if that's the case.
I think that makes LFR like tourist mode.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
right.
I think that, look, I think that's a good thing. I think the reason people get so upset in LFR, and LFR is so crazy, is because people only rage when you wipe. That's when people rage. If you're killing bosses every time, nobody's raging. Why would you rage? The boss is dead. You move on to the next boss.
Right.
But when you're wiping over and over and over again, then that's when it's all uppercase talk and everyone's upset.
Yeah.
So if it's easier in a way, believe it or not, I think that could be a good thing for LFR. But this idea that it really makes it more tourist mode, I think is a good thing.
Yeah. I don't think it's a bad thing, but you know, at the same time, there are, I don't know, maybe Mists of Pandaria has set an expectation level from, you know, and that The casual crowd has been. I don't want to say. I don't know how to put it exactly. That makes a lot of sense here, but the casual crowd has been come to expect that dungeon gear is underneath raid gear, whatever raid gear it is, including LFR.
Right.
So, but now with the introduction of these harder heroics now, so if it does go with an eye level of normal dungeon, LFR gear, then heroic dungeon gear, I wonder how those LFR heroes are going to react. You know what I mean? It's just it's kind of a weird thing.
Why do you think that they would react negatively to this?
Because they feel like it's top level content for them, and if top level content for them falls beneath dungeon level content for others, you know, just as far as eye level goes.
Right, but I one thing about LFR raiders too is that they try to get the best gear that they can for what they have time to do. So some people can only do LFR, so they want to get all that LFR gear. They want to make their character the best that they can be for the time that they have.
Right, and I get it. I totally get that. But at the same time, I'm always kind of like, okay, how would those guys react? That's just a question.
I don't know. I wonder if, because I came from being a hardcore raider, you know, like heroic level, all this kind of stuff, progression, to more of a normal mode raider. Then I had to get a little bit more casual and flex, and now I'm finally getting back into the normal mode raid. So I've kind of seen all aspects of it. I think on the LFR side of things, as long as they get to see the content and get to see the bosses, and if it's easier, meaning that they can go in there, they don't have to spend 3-4 hours wiping on one boss or whatever, then I think that LFR raiders are going to be happy. They'll be able to see the content. If the eye level isn't super high or crazy, I think they're okay with that. As long as they can get in, kill some bosses, get some loot if they like, have a good time, and get out, then that's great, because that's that more casual lifestyle. It's little pockets of time. It's not hours and hours and hours.
As long as the gear is purple, they won't care, right? That's another thing too. I mean, because then you go into purple versus blue, and then it's like, okay, well, then there's another mental, you know, just a line, just like a level of expectation that you have when you go into raids is that you're going to get purple loot. But what if it's blue? Then what happens?
I mean, it's interesting because LFR has always been above dungeons and heroic 5-mans. And somebody mentioned Cyber Mike B says, I know I'm a little pissy about this LFR. It should be above heroic 5-mans. Right. So that's a yeah, I hear you on that. I hear you on that.
Or at least on par with it, right? So I mean, I don't know. I think there's still some work that needs to be done in beta, and I think that's where it's gonna probably be worked out as far as what those different levels are. Darius, thoughts on the eye level debate?
I think this is good. I mean, they're doing enough to differentiate, I think, between LFRs and normals and mythics and all those kind of things that I don't think people that are on the higher end are going to be angry about it, because it's not the same thing. You know, it's there so you can see the content, get some gear, go into heroics, more just so you can see the content and then whet your appetite for going into, you know, seeing it on normal or seeing it on mythic. I think that's what it'll be really good for. If you can get in there earlier, you know, then you're like, whoa, if I can get into heroics and get some more gear, I can actually see this stuff.
Right.
You know,
that's interesting. That's a good way to look at it.
I mean, the people that are gonna see it, that want to see it on normal and mythic, are going to see it on it. You know, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna get there. But you know, people that haven't quite been there, you know, it gives them something to strive for. And then it's no longer, well, I've done LFR. That's all I can do. I'm done. You know, I don't have time to raid. It's, well, I've done LFR. Now I can go into heroic dungeons, and there's something more for me to do and get gear from that, and hope I get drops from that.
And then go into one of the many flex raids that will be out.
Maybe eventually, flex raids will be
a thing. So you can just
it looks like now you'll be able to do dungeons to get geared up to be ready for flex. You know, Murda Ben in our chat room said this is good. No longer have to do LFR to get ready for flex raid. I hate LFR and the squiggly mark players there.
Yeah, right. Well, and that is kind of the thing is that I think it truly defines the difficulty levels, the various difficulty levels out there, a little bit better and clearer. And I think that because Mists of Pandaria was pretty cool as an experiment with LFR being there for the entire expansion, right? So, but one of the things that people weren't so happy with was that they felt like they had to do LFR to get gear that they weren't getting in normal raid.
That's right.
So I think with this, if they tone down the eye level, if they make it, into this quote unquote tourist mode, if they do all these different things, that's at least doing the right thing for everybody. Making those clear distinctions between these different difficulty levels and making sure that the content fits with those guys. So, and I hope that heroic and mythic raiders will not feel like they need to do LFR or normals, I guess.
Right. And one thing is, I think they definitely will not. But here's one thing too: the way it stands now in the game, the only way to gear up to do even flexes or normals is through LFR. It's your only option. So you're forced to do it. And these LFRs with the difficulty, if people wipe, people get upset, it gets crazy. But this gives you tons of options.
Right.
You know what I mean? That you can now gear up with a smaller group in a heroic 5-man. And there's going to be several, by the way, at 90. And you can use that. Isn't that a better way? I think it is. And my way to gear up is through a heroic 5-man to get ready into flex. Versus doing these big, long LFRs, a new wing. And look, when a new wing of LFR comes out, everybody wipes for at least 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
so I don't know. Changing things up.
Yeah. Giving people more options is what is a good way to start fixing some of the anger that's in LFR.
Yeah.
Giving people other ways to get gear. If I can go in and I can do a heroic dungeon with 5 other people that I know and we can blow right through it. And it's going to give me gear, then I don't have to go into LFR. If I'm an angry raider, I can go in and do 5-mans with people I know and not have to go into LFR and be like, why are we wiping? Why are you so bad? Those kind of things. So maybe this fixes it. This is
maybe
if this is what we think it's going to be.
That and the tutorial stuff has got me really thinking that this is like a fundamental switch in the mentality of the developers. I mean, this is like I don't know whether it's good or bad, but I do think that it's very interesting that they are doing this, and especially now. And maybe it's because we're going to have the level 90 boosts, and because they're expecting a big influx of people for Warlords, and I hope that that's the case, obviously. But what do you guys think about this switch that we're seeing with teaching people how to play? Essentially, do you think that this is a good thing, or do you think that people are going to get kind of annoyed by it, or what?
Well, I think they said this tutorial thing was optional, I believe.
Yeah, but I think that it looks like it may be optional, but at the same time, if you're boosted to 90, you might have to go through it.
Right. No, and that's a definite possibility. I mean, for me, this all looks positive to me. I like this idea that LFR is going to be a little bit less in this heroics. I think that's good. I think lowering the difficulty, believe it or not, on LFR is good. It's less wipes. There's less rage. That's good. Tutorial, teaching people how to play these classes, changing proving grounds to make them more of a tutorial, to show you how to play is good. I think silver required for heroics with just random queues, I think is good. Because when you queue randomly, these people had to have at least gotten silver.
Right.
That's good. Right. So I don't know. All of these things to me look positive. These get me excited about Warlords. And I think it's a very good thing. Everything that I'm seeing here, these changes.
Gotcha.
What about you, Darius?
No, I think this is good. If you're going to have a bunch of people jumping to 90, or even just the leveling process, you get a bunch of stuff thrown at you, but you don't know what it does. You don't know how to use it. You don't know the synergy between what's going on. The tutorial, I think, is something they've needed for a long time.
Yeah.
Like I've always said, 1 to 90 is the tutorial. That's the entry zone into WoW. Once you hit max level, then you're actually playing the real game. But if they're not telling you how this stuff works together, then you're just kind of hitting buttons at that point. I think if they can go over some stuff and talk about the synergy between different spells and different effects, especially on classes like healers, where it's really important that you're not just kind of throwing heals out there. You understand how this heal works with this heal, or how this buffs this, or whatever. That's going to be huge, and all it's going to do is make better players, and that's a win-win for everybody. So
right.
I don't see why people would get angry about this.
I totally agree. I mean, I think that's only going to be a good thing down the line. And it may be a little tough to get used to for some folks, but I think that's all looking good from my angle as well. So I don't know. You know what else is looking good?
Me?
There was sure. Speaking of the press event, let's go back to the press event a little bit. So along with this press event, there were like a bunch of videos that were released of gameplay.
Yeah.
And Colt, you were talking about this before the show a little bit. You were watching some of this stuff, right?
Oh, it looks awesome. Holy cow. It looks awesome. I'm sorry. They had the starting zone and you're following the orcs. I love I play Alliance now. I've been playing Horde for years, but we switched to Alliance with CTR. But I love the look of the orcs. And when they're running around and they're doing it, but just seeing the new areas and the fights, I'm like, oh man, like, I'm picturing it on my monk, and I'm like, oh man, I could use Rushing Jadewind here, and I'll do this. Oh man, like, you know what I mean? You just start getting like juiced up, Right. It's like, here we go, like it's it's Warlords, this is it, I got so excited, man. I got so jazzed.
It's pretty cool. Did you get a chance to take a look at that, Darius?
Yeah, I mean, I watched some of the video of what they were doing in the Alliance starting zone. So it was Shadow Moon Valley.
Yeah.
I think. And oh, man, that looked pretty.
Yeah.
That looked really good.
It looks pretty awesome, guys. And now, was this much different than what we saw at BlizzCon? Or was it, I don't know. I mean, because I was kind of looking at some of this stuff and I'm like going, yeah, I kind of remember it looking this way, but I think it was just more fleshed out, right?
Yeah, some of the spells and spell effects I think were very similar, but again, more fleshed out. But the area looked so much better than what we saw. I mean, we were looking at like a Draenor area that wasn't a Shadow Moon Valley like we saw in there. But I mean, just it looked so much better than I thought what we saw at BlizzCon. What I saw at BlizzCon, I felt was really alpha, was really early. It didn't feel like this was something that even they wanted to show us, but they kind of had to. But this, I felt like, you could see the pride in it, and it was more, they were happier about what they were showing off.
It was welcome to BlizzCon. Oh yeah. God, I guess play this. Sure.
Yeah, it was like, please don't look over here. Like, don't click this button. It doesn't work.
It was good. It was fun. It was fine. Well, you tried to run a dungeon, and I think that's where it all kind of falls apart, because you only had like 15 minutes. They're like, well, only play 15 minutes here, guys. Why don't we just play 15 minutes and then get out? So I just quested, because I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna quest. Screw it. Didn't want to run a dungeon.
This felt better. I am a little worried though, because they did show off the Alliance starting zone only, and the people that did get a peek at the Horde starting zone said that it was nowhere near done.
Right.
And if we're looking at thinking of beta soon, you'd think they would be a lot further along.
Well, did you see the Horde stuff? I thought it looked good. You had Duratan in there, which was awesome, but it looked good to me. Did you see the video of the Horde stuff?
Yeah, I mean, maybe the guy that, because I was reading an article, it was one of the French guys, and then it was translated in English, so maybe it was bad translation, or maybe he just didn't like it, but he was saying it felt very incomplete compared to the Alliance starting zone.
Right.
There's this part where in one of the videos, you're like with Duratan and you're riding on this wolf up this path, and you look in the distance and there's this like giant mountain in this village with smoke and lava. I don't know, it looked awesome.
Cool. It's really cool.
I got excited, man.
It's really cool.
Oh gosh. And seeing Duratan in there, like that's Duratan.
And
he's a major dude.
I think it's further along than you think there, Darius, because Celestalon is saying that there's more to come even sooner than their normal soon, with a little TM there.
Yeah, he said that there's a big info dump coming from Blizzard soon.
Yes.
Right. Which he said he was up to 13,000 words and about 33 pages of content.
Yeah.
Whoa!
I know. This is going to be an info dump of all info dumps.
That's a lot of words to just explain how priests are awesome. And
Right. Well, that's another thing too. Did you notice, like with the classes, like some of the abilities were removed? Some had them, some didn't. You know,
Right.
When they clicked, like because the classes are going to be changing.
Right.
They're getting rid of ability bloat. You know, there's not going to be as many abilities. It's going to be oh man, it'll be so much.
There's so much stuff coming, and somebody somebody tweeted back at him. What are we talking about? Are we talking about days and weeks? And he goes, "Yeah, sounds about right."
But
You know,
he
it's
said
awesome.
like weeks, days, and his answer is just yes.
Yes, like
yes.
weeks and days.
So
How
this
mu-
show comes out on the like usually on Monday. So
Right.
let's say tomorrow, Tuesday, we get the info dump of all info dump.
Oh, you know what that means? It means next Sunday's show is going to be pretty long.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Man,
get
isn't that
ready.
exciting.
Get ready, boys, get your reading glasses. Get
I'm waiting
those-
for this.
Mm,
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Hump,
Let's do
baby.
this.
Yeah. In other news dropped. Now, okay, so right at the time where the $60 90, buy a 90 program happened, there was more information released, but it got totally buried by that $60 article. And it was about PvP.
Yes.
And I'm going to play the sounder.
You down with PvP? Yeah, you know me.
Yeah.
PvP? Yeah, you know me. You down with PvP? Yeah, you know me. Who's down with PvP?
And the news is so good for PvP right now. It is incredible. Olivia Grace is completely ecstatic for this stuff, and I am excited as well. And I think that's because they have managed to do a bunch of little updates for Warlords, and it's gonna be incredible, incredibly fun for me, a very casual PvPer. Very casual. So casual, I haven't really done any this year. I mean, I've done some random battlegrounds, but that's about it. I mean, I had to do the 2 for the cloak. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I think technically everyone with a legendary now is a PvPer.
Technically, yes.
The Blizzard's PvP numbers went through the roof.
That's right. That's in the infographic. Remember that from a few weeks ago? No.
Yeah.
How many PvP instances there were? That's because of the cloak, baby.
I wonder with that if Blizzard thought, if we make everyone do PvP, we'll get at least, 10% of those people to come back. They'll think, that was kind of fun. I'll go back and PvP.
Right.
But instead, it was this awful experience where you've got everyone that PvEs only trying to PvP.
Yeah.
And it ended up being a much worse experience than they probably thought.
Right. Well, this is really cool though. But this stuff that they announced was really, really cool because skirmishes, they're coming back.
Yes.
And they're going to have rewards with them, which is great. So you'll be able to get honor and other stuff. I'm guessing kind of like the satchel for, dungeons and stuff like that. But maybe pets and mounts. I have no idea. But other stuff, including maybe more honor. And then we also have spectator mode. They've actually put a spectator mode into the system.
Now hold
PvP.
on.
What?
Whoa.
What?
Don't start shouting out spectator mode because then people think it's like spectator mode. And it is, but it isn't. But it isn't.
Well, explain it then.
So now look, I don't really know what is, PvP.
Right.
But it's supposedly you form a group.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the three of us, you, me, Darius, Doug, we're like, we're going to do this PvP stuff. So let's say you two are going to PvP.
Yeah.
So you guys queue up for PvP and I will queue up as a spectator. So I have to be in the same group as you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I can't I can't just spectate like anybody. I can't be like, I heard Swifty is going to be doing some arena stuff. I'm going to go watch his match. It's not going to be that. I have to be in their group.
That's right.
Yeah.
Actually, the way that I understand it is that the person who is going to spectate will invite those who will be pitting themselves against each other, and they will also be inviting other people to join the spectacle. So to spectate along with them. So they will have the two teams. They will have the spectator group, and then they will go and then everybody who's in the spectator group can go watch the whatever's happening, and the teams that are fighting against each other fight against each other without the spectators getting in the way.
Right.
So that's the understanding. But it's still spectator mode. It's a start, and I'll take it. And
this is good. And with Twitch being so pervasive now, someone in that spectator group's gonna be streaming it,
right?
So you can actually watch it, which means they can start having PvP tournaments that you don't have to wait for a Blizzard Invitational or something like that,
right?
To start getting these spectator modes, and you can start having your own PvP tournaments, which is awesome.
This is why I'm so stoked, by the way, because this is going to be happening for war games. And if you haven't been doing war games, especially for, like the cloak stuff, which you can do it. But you should check it out. And so for war games, they're also going to have normalized gear. They're going to have gear that you can put on that will put everybody on the same gear level. You won't have to gem it or enchant it or anything. You will just go in there, you'll put on this gear, and you'll go. And that is so amazing. From a casual PvP perspective, this is one of the most amazing things ever. It means that you can go in with your friends, have some of your friends watch and give you a hard time because you're lousy at it, right? And you can, have other friends of yours that are, PvPing against you and killing you because you're terrible at PvP, but you're at least having fun with friends. This is what it's about, right?
Yep.
Oh, I'm so excited for this. It's so cool.
This spectacle thing, they're also opening up the feature to add-on developers so they can come up with tools for tournament organizers to customize how the match is presented on the screen.
Yeah.
And in regards to what you're saying about the gear, they're calling it tournament mode gear,
right?
A special set of gear that can only be used in war games to help tournament runners ensure that all players are on equal footing.
It's amazing.
Awesome.
I love this stuff.
Skill, baby.
And especially when I think about, the CTR guild, which is huge, right? Mm-hmm. So when I think about that, I'm like going, oh my God, we could build entire weekend events and tournaments for pets and mounts and whatever else we can do. And we can live stream it. And we can have a bunch of people in there and giving everybody a hard time. It's going to be, it's
going to be great. It opens up a lot of doors.
I love this. What, Darius?
Nothing. What? That's your excitement.
I'm totally stoked for this.
I think this is good. This is really good. I want to see this kind of in raids. I want to be able to spectate raids.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Maybe
I think that would make the Race to World First really interesting.
Yeah, it definitely could.
I don't think that'll ever happen though. Because then somebody's got God mode. They could be like, oh, so-and-so, get out of the poo. Watch out behind you. You know what I mean?
No, you put it on a 10-minute, 15-minute delay.
10 minute?
Yeah.
Not a 20-second one or?
No, I mean, most fights.
So you want a Twitch delay. Is that what you want? Because Twitch right now is delayed so much.
Yeah. You don't want it live, but you don't want it. You want to be seeing one fight behind kind of thing.
Right.
I think that'd be good, but I mean the addition of this to PvP is really where they needed it. So this is good. This is
yeah. And I heard something that they might have less CC in PvP and Warlords, which is going to be great. I tried actually PvP last night. I've been doing the Justice to Honor conversion. I got in there. I'm like, all right, I got some PvP gear. I'm CC'd. All right, now I'm CC'd. All right, here comes a rising sun. Yeah, that's all it was me just stunned.
Right.
Stunned. That was it.
Well, you are stunning.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Crane. Yeah, rock you like a hurricane. Dig it.
Oh, man.
But good stuff, man. Big changes.
Yes.
Big changes all across the board in Warlords.
Some really cool stuff. And
this expansion's going to be insane.
I cannot wait for this.
I know, man. I know.
I can't wait for the big info dump that's going to hit tomorrow.
Yes.
Tuesday. It's going to hit tomorrow. I'm sure of it. I'm sure it's got to be tomorrow, right?
That's right. And if it doesn't, we can always blame Celestalon.
Blame. Celestalon. Blame Celestalon.
right, we've got some questions to get to. Let's do it.
Hey, you had that one queued
We've
up.
got mail.
Ready.
We do. And if you have a question for anything for us about rating, about, whatever, just let us know. We'll try to answer it on the show. You can email us at converttораid@gmail.com, or you can call our raid line 612-787-RAID, or you can join our live show on Gamebreaker TV. Try to flag us down. We'll see if we can answer your question if we have time for it. I know that we have a lot of questions today, and the first one comes from the raid line, actually.
Hey guys, love the show. I've got a question for you regarding raiding. Been raiding for a really long time. I took a very long break. I didn't raid at all in MOP, and I really want to get back to it when the Warlords of Destruction comes out.
Yeah.
But I'm having a difficult time kind of wrapping my head around all these changes. So I was wondering what you suggest to a player now while these changes are not in place to kind of gear up and get ready to make those changes when that patch does roll out. Again, thank you for your time and love the show. Bye.
All right. Well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it. And guys, what kind of advice would you give to people that maybe have been raiding but haven't been in Miss and are looking forward to getting into it for Warlords? What kind of advice would you give those guys to prepare?
I got a quick one real quick.
Yeah.
I got a quick one real quick. Professions. Professions in Warlords will no longer provide a rating boost. Meaning, blacksmithing will no longer provide extra sockets. Engineering will no longer provide synapse springs. So professions in Warlords will just be to craft gear and to sell that gear, right? It's going to be strictly actually, if you think about it, what a profession should be. You know what I mean? So it's like if you're a blacksmith, you will be crafting weapons and armor, but you will not be getting sockets. You know what I mean? So
right.
I like this personally because I got to level up engineering just for synapse springs so I can get a 20-second haste buff or whatever for every minute. You know what I mean? So one thing just to keep in mind with professions, by the way, with your boost, you'll get a max level profession up to level 90. Just keep in mind for Warlords, none of these professions will have any type of DPS enhancement or anything like that. It's strictly going to be for crafting. Right. Which is what profession should be.
And we should note as well that the level 90 boost for the professions, you have to be over level 60 in order to get the profession boost. And it will get you to level 600, which is essentially the starting point or the end point for Miss Pandaria going into Warlords. So you'll have some more leveling to do, but you'll at least be at a comfortable point.
Right.
So there. Darius, what kind of advice would you give to this guy?
I'd say if you maybe rated in MOP or just for anyone in this and you've left and you're coming back, but you're worried about all the changes for Warlords, I would almost say don't play right now. Don't get too serious into it. Maybe log in, check a couple things, do a few things, but wait. You don't want to, especially if you haven't played in MOP at all or maybe played at the very beginning, you don't want to get used to all the stuff that you've got now and then a couple months have it all change again and have to relearn it all again.
Right.
If you can wait until that patch 6.0 hits and everything changes and then get used to it then for the first time again, then jump into dungeons, do LFRs, the raid changes will come, so you can jump into a normal, which is now flex, something like that, and get used to this stuff when all the changes, because they're going to be changing a lot in that when that patch hits. I mean, enough that if you get used to everything now and you think you got it, you're going to be completely lost again when that 6.0 patch hits.
Right.
You don't want to do that.
But remember, I mean, as far as abilities go, there will be that tutorial, so you can always jump in.
But not when 6.0 hits.
Maybe not when 6.0 hits, but
yeah.
when Warlords hits, that tutorial should be available to you. So that would be a great place to go for abilities.
If you want to jump into raiding as soon as possible in Warlords of Destruction, you want to know that stuff before it hits and before you get to that tutorial. So you should start learning it all when 6.0 hits, because then you've got that month or month and a half or however long of 6.0 to prepare for Warlords, and that's when you should be learning it and practicing it, so you can jump right in when that thing hits.
Yeah.
One quick thing to add just from the chat room. Jewel crafting and enchanting. Jewel crafters will still be able to make gems. You just won't be able to make those big gems that have the huge stats on it.
Right.
Enchanters will still be able to make enchants, which will increase, DPS, but they won't be able to enchant their rings. You know what I mean?
Right. So you won't get that little specialized bonus thing
right.
that you get for your professions.
Yeah.
But you'll still be able to do them and make money.
Yes, absolutely.
So there. And yeah, I think that the tutorials is going to be a good place for people as Warlords, comes in. I'm trying to think of some other things. One of the other things we were talking about this last week is building your raid awareness. Rebuild your raid awareness. If you're playing right now, that's great. Go into dungeons or into LFR or wherever, and learn some of that stuff. Just, basic mechanics, some of those things. Retrain yourself a little bit if you're a little rusty. I think that trying to get all those gears moving again is not a bad idea. So that would be another way to go with that.
Yeah.
Another way to get prepared. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say raiding nowadays is better than it's ever been as far as being able to get groups and group up with friends and people. It's never been as easy to get into a group as it is now. There's a lot less restrictions on that, and it's going to be even better in Warlords. So it's a good time to get back into raiding. It's a really good time.
Yeah, it's really good. It's not bad at all. Now we have another letter that was sent in to us. And Coltrane, can you help us with this one?
Sure. This is from Rolo T. He says, "Hey there, CTR crew. Earlier today, I read the news that heroic dungeons in Warlords of Draenor are going to require the player to at least earn a silver medal in the Proving Grounds to queue for that specific role. I hear all of the people cheering about how this is great, but personally, this news really disappoints me. Proving Grounds at its core exists to help new players test out a new role before getting into a public environment, and I can appreciate that. However, Proving Grounds is not able to properly convey the challenge of contributing to a dungeon or raid. It's all about personal responsibility and not team responsibility. I still can't pass Bronze Healer Proving Grounds because I just can't manage healing all 5 party members as well as stunning and interrupting enemies as often as possible because no one else in the AI party will. This makes me a subpar player, I figure, but I've had no problem healing normal and LFR raids in MOP or Cataclysm. I've always learned how to heal through dungeons where I can rely on teammates to handle interrupting the boss if the damage is getting high, just as they can rely on me to heal them in the situation where the tank suddenly DCs or we pick up one mob too many. I just don't like the idea of my ability to participate in team challenges being prohibited by my aptitude at solo content. If Blizzard wants to eliminate the problem of substandard players entering into heroic dungeons, a problem I personally have very rarely experienced, maybe they should instead work to solve toxic player problems rather than creating additional roadblocks. I believe I am likely in the minority in this opinion, but I wanted to share it. Thanks for the show, guys. I got back into playing WoW only because I so enjoyed listening to you guys talk about the fun of raiding that I wanted to experience it once again."
Oh, that's cool. That's cool, and I'm glad that we could get you back into WoW, and I definitely hope you're having fun.
That's awesome.
But of course, this is about the big news about Proving Grounds. So, Darius, any thoughts as far as this letter goes?
I think if you look at the way Proving Grounds are right now, he has a point. But Proving Grounds are going to change. They've said that in Warlords. They're going to be different. It's going to teach you how to play your class and your spec. It's not, as of right now, he's right. Proving Grounds are more of how well can you solo content. When you've got, especially as a healer, when you've got 4 other players that love to stand and stuff, especially that hunter. Oh my goodness.
He really does like to stand and stuff.
Yeah, he does. And then he jokes about it. He's the worst. Talking about toxic players. But anyway.
Toxic AI players.
Yeah. In Warlords, that's all gonna change. It's gonna be more of a teaching tool to say, here's how you heal. Here's how you heal a group of people. They'll be better at doing their job, or at least be a little bit more intelligent. And this should at least help you get into a group, a heroic group, and have you understand what you're doing at least, and have you at least done it once before. And I think that's the big thing. It'll be proving grounds will be a lot different than they are now. So everybody's got to remember that.
Well, and just to point out, we have Celestalon in the chat room right now.
Celestalon!
Which is weird. Hi, man. Hi. And he says that's actually not true. Proving ground AIs will do all of the stunning, interrupting, etc. That's what he says. And I went through on the bronze today. I went through today because of this letter, and I was like, okay, I want to, do my due diligence because it's been a long time since I've done any proving grounds. I think I went through silver and I said, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I went about my business and I just never returned to it. So I went back, did the bronze level, and on my druid, healing, didn't interrupt anything, and it was fine. So and I wasn't even really. I had some new gear and I hadn't had that gemmed yet or anything like that, so I didn't have anything really super special. And it brings you down to item level 463, I think.
Correct.
So I went through and it was no big deal. I didn't have to interrupt anything. So you might want to try that again and just heal first of all and make sure that you can go through it. But I understand the plight, right? I mean, it's why introduce this other gate for those guys that may not be awesome at solo content.
Right.
So
but they will change in Warlords. It will be more of a teaching tool. And that's something that we can look forward to. So another thing that I think that's changing in Warlords that is another big positive.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still kind of geeked out that Celestalon's in here.
I know, right?
So I gotta play the song again. I gotta play the song. That's it.
Celestalon, Celestalon.
All right. We should probably move it along. However, and let's do one more question here. Darius, can you get this one from Blade Moon, please?
Sure. This is Blade Moon. Not sure what server, but
no.
It says just a simple question. Do you think the first wing of Siege should have been a different instance? Thematically, it makes sense since the first 4 bosses don't even take place in Orgrimmar, but it also has lessened the amount of farm we'd have to do every week. At this point, almost no one needs gear from the first 4 bosses, yet we have to do them every time we farm. I think it'd make a lot of sense if you had the Veil raid, the Siege raid, so that we could start at Galacras, Galifianakis every week.
Zach Galifianakis.
Yep. And only have to do 10 bosses. Then start at Immersius and have to do all 14 with almost no one needing gear from the first 4 bosses.
Yeah, we kind of discussed this a little bit last week, right? About how 14 is a lot of bosses, right?
Yes.
Coltrane,
linear.
What do you think about this, Colt?
14 is a lot of bosses, man.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow.
Right.
No, it is. You got that big linear progression. You got 14,
Yeah.
They're saying in Warlords that maybe you could change it up a little bit. Maybe you could change some of the order, which is a good thing. A lot of people like linear. A lot of people dig it, man. Me, I like options. I like, I can do this boss over here. I can go to this place over here, whatever suits the strengths and weaknesses of your team. Not necessarily a linear progression, but some people dig that.
Right.
So because of that, that's why these first 4 bosses, your team doesn't need any loot. So one thing they're doing in Warlords, once you defeat, I think it's one of the last bosses, you can get a key. And that key will unlock some, maybe a later part of the instance or maybe that end boss. So you can actually skip older bosses that you no longer need gear for.
Yep.
So that could be a good thing.
Well, and maybe the question is, what do you think for you guys? And I think we talked about this last week. I'm trying to remember. What would be the perfect number of bosses for a raid instance? I mean, they can have multiple raid instances. I mean, they did that in Mists of Pandaria, right? I mean, we had the Heart of Fear was at the same time, dropped at the same time as whatchamacallit?
Terrace.
Terrace,
yeah.
Toes. So it definitely can happen that way. But what would be the perfect number of bosses in a raid instance for you, Darius?
I like the number between 10 and 14, like,
for
12.
a single instance.
Yeah, I like that. I like having a whole bunch. Now, I don't like the linearity of it though. So being able to do different things like ICC, being able to go into different wings, Kind of do what you wanted there. I like that.
But you still had to go through the first 4 bosses or whatever. First
true.
3 or 4. 4.
I really liked how they did Mogoshan, Heart of Fear, and Terrace. I thought that was awesome. And I'd probably like to see that more. But that had even more bosses. So something like that. But all at once, 12, 14, that's too many. All at once in one straight line, that's too many.
Right.
Coltrane, I like lots of raid bosses.
You like lots of bosses. Coltrane, how about you?
Now I know a lot of people, when you say the word cataclysm, all you raiders get all up in arms and all start freaking out.
Right.
But I like the beginning of Cataclysm where it was like they had the Bastion of Twilight. And that was like, what, 6 bosses? 6 or 7?
Bastion was... Boy, how many was... I'm trying to remember. That was a long time ago.
But it felt right. So I like having like 6 in one instance or 7. And then over in this instance, you got another 6. You know what I mean? Or 7.
Right.
I like having like different places to go. And that helps out for raid teams. They don't have to extend their lockout. If they've got less time to raid, then they feel that satisfaction. Like, we cleared the instance. We killed the final boss, even though it was only 6.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I like having that kind of variety.
Yep.
Not just a big giant linear progression.
And then everybody says something like, well, what about Firelands? It was 7 bosses and it was over so quickly and blah, blah, blah. I think if you do a lower number like that you have to do multiple instances. Because I think that, Firelands, when you look back on that was 7 bosses, right? And people just kind of... there were definitely walls for those heroic raiders and for other people. Alyss Resort was like a big one on normal for my team at the time. Mm-hmm. And then after the nerf, we just kind of blew right through everything. But yeah, it's just... If you do 7, I think you have to do 2 instances to, give a little bit more flavor, a little bit more option, all that kind of good stuff. I think the number of bosses of being, 12, 14, sure, but I'd like to see it split up in multiple instances, even if they're gated like they were in Mists of Pandaria.
Or if they have that many bosses, make it that I can start with this boss, or I can start with this boss.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not like you do this boss, this boss, this boss. But you know what? There's a lot of people out there that really dig that linear progression, and I think we've seen an improvement on the tuning of it in Siege of Orgrimmar compared to Throne of Thunder. Where everybody stopped on Horadin. Boss 2, 10 man could not get past.
Can we please not get into Horadin, because that was
You're right. I'm sorry.
That was not fun.
Right.
When you don't have a monk and you're doing 10-man Horadin, it's just that's the worst.
Nope.
That's right.
That is the worst. Oh man. All right. Now one more letter before we go, and this is from Karta on Proudmoore, and I'll take this one. Hi guys, I just wanted to let you know a fun realization I came to today. I've been listening to your show for a while and I've never watched any of your videos. I came across one today and was surprised to see the people behind the voices. I had always thought that Pat and Coltrane were younger and Darius was an old bald guy. Keep up the great show. And I just want to point out something. You managed to insult all 3 of us in one short sentence. It's great. It's great. I love it. But yes, come watch the videos on the tubes of you.
That's right.
And those are available over at GameBreaker.tv. They're also available on ConvertToRaid.com. And yes.
We might look quite a bit different than our voices. I love Darius being an old bald guy. That's awesome.
Guy. Yeah, not living up to people's expectations.
I'm sorry.
That is us.
That's great. I'm wearing these sunglasses so I look younger now.
Right.
These ridiculous shades.
I don't think that helps you any.
It's not helping. I'm not down.
No,
I'm not cool.
I don't think so.
Huh.
I'm just gonna.
I'm coming like a wrecking ball.
We'll let the chat room decide here, and we'll get to that in probably about 14 hours.
This person, this card out on Proudmoore, that's an alias. It's probably someone on Airy Peak in the guild.
Might be. All right. But But I think that has to do it for the show today. So we will get into some 5-star reviews. And Darius, can you give us the shout outs this week?
We got a couple this week. We've got WoW for Life, we've got Chinball, and we've got Magneto Burrito.
Magneto Burrito. I love that name.
Yeah.
That's incredible. What kind of shout-outs we got this week here, fellers?
I got one. I did it earlier, but I'll do it again. It's the Flex group that I ran with on Thursday. Thanks, guys, for putting up with my undergeared pally and raiding late into the night with us. Coltrane, you were there, so thank you, Mr. Train.
Hey!
Yeah.
Thank you, Darius. Wow!
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. Really a great time.
Cool. Well, I have a shout out to everybody who's in the range of my voice right now. Thank you so much for listening to the show. We really appreciate it. And we cannot do this show without you guys. Thanks for taking the time to rate us on iTunes. Thanks for the feedback and the questions and the stuff on YouTube and Gamebreaker and Convert. Oh, jeez, we're everywhere, right?
There's a lot, baby.
But feel free to join in on all the conversations we're having at any time.
I got one more shout out I want to give here.
Go ahead.
So the Asparagus Initiative is going to be going 25-man for the rest of MOP.
Wait, hold on a sec, because I think this deserves. I gotta bail out on the music right now.
Oh, sorry.
Bail out.
I'm gonna bail out of the music right now because this is very, very important to me.
Wow.
and to Darius. All right, go ahead, Darius.
So we're gonna be going 25-man for the rest of MOP, and then Mythic 20-man in Warlords. So we are looking for 15 to 20 more people right now to join the Asparagus Initiative. We'll also likely be going 2 days a week. Sundays and Mondays, it looks like right now.
Yes.
But we're going to have an application for you to fill out. It'll be on our team page on the forums.
Yes.
We'll post a link there, and you can apply, and we'll take a look, and we'll get you in here. So if you're looking to raid with the Asparagus Initiative, or you just, you hate Zug and I, but you want to raid Mondays and Tuesdays, or Sundays and Mondays.
Sundays and Mondays.
Go ahead and apply.
So
right now it is 6 to 10 server.
Yes.
That's Pacific.
Is that correct?
Yes,
that's Pacific.
On Sundays, and we're looking at doing an hour later, I think, on Monday.
I think 7 to 11 server on Mondays.
Something like that
is what we're looking at right now. But we need a bunch more people. So once that's up, go ahead and apply. That should be up later today for the live show, but it should definitely be up by the time this comes out on Monday.
Right.
But yeah, it's on the team page, on the Convert to Raid or the Signals Media forums.
Right.
Will be the application.
Right. And I think that we will try to tweet the deets as well.
Yes.
So yeah, follow us on the Twitter, please. And you can also contact us in a lot of different ways, and I'm going to play this music. There we go.
If you want to raid with an old Pat Crane and a bald Darius, join the Asparagus Initiative.
That's right.
That's where we take the makeup off for the raid because we don't need it.
Right.
Darius is wearing a toupee right now. He's wearing
you can always email us at converttoraid@gmail.com. You can call and leave comments and questions on our raid line, 612-787-RAID. That's 612-787-7243. You can follow us on Twitter at converttoraid or individually. Isn't that right, Coltrane?
You can follow Pat Crane at Pat Crane. You can follow Coltrane at _Coltrane. And you can follow Darius at Board Mine.
That's right, and feel free to join the Bazooba Guabo Nation just by heading over to converttoraid.com, where we have show videos, downloads, forums, tons of links for raiders, and so much more. It's all over at converttoraid.com. Also, the videos are up on gamebreaker.tv. That's where our live stream is. And thank you so much. Our audio show, is also available on Stitcher, BlackBerry Podcast Directory, all sorts of other places, and maybe even more coming soon. Soon, TM.
What? Soon, TM.
Right, exactly. That is going to be it for this show, however. We hope you had a good time and learned a little bit about what's coming up for Warlords of Destruction. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you on our next show next week, regular time, Sunday, 11 a.m. Central. And for all the guys that Convert to Raid, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.